The sun is going down, and we're pushing deep into Florida's biggest swamp to find out what creepy creatures patrol it at night. My name is Harrison, and this is Evan. We're twin brothers on a mission to tell the stories of all of our planet's weirdest and coolest animals before it's too late. Tonight, we're heading out to document as many swamp species as we can to show you the insane ways they survive out here and maybe find some animals we've never seen before. But our first find shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
Nice little cottonmouth crossing the road here. And these guys do often move in rainy conditions like this. They'll be moving between bodies of water, getting into position to start an ambush hunt. It's just after sunset, so that's exactly when I'd expect to see a cottonmouth like this moving. With a big snake like this, I can understand why it might be intimidating to some people, but cottonmouths are really one of those snakes that will let you know when they're upset. Literally not aggressive or even defensive at all. He's just wanting to get on his way back off into the cypress swamp here. We'll probably see a lot more as we continue down the road here.
That's no empty prediction. Cottonmouths are extremely abundant in this swamp, and we see several of them every time we're here. They are truly masters of this environment. Their potent hemotoxic venom lets them stop any prey they encounter on land, and they swim so well that they can even catch fish underwater. But this viper isn't the only predator that has figured out how to make use of both the land and the water here.
Right behind me, we have a very special spider. There are two, actually, Okefenokee fishing spiders right here. Now, this is a lifer for Evan and me, and actually one of them is eating. It caught a huge moth.
And it did it right in front of us, I might add. This spider catches bugs in near total darkness thanks to its insanely sensitive hairs called setae that can detect the slightest movements of a moth's wings without needing to see at all. But they're called fishing spiders because the setae let them sense vibrations through the water, so they can actually hunt fish and other aquatic prey. Exploring a swamp full of spiders and venomous snakes may sound terrifying, but it's the sheer number of bizarre and fascinating animals in the swamp that keeps us coming back. There's so much life here that even a quick walk through the trees will reveal things you've never seen before, like this strange beetle our friend Mikie found.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, notch-mouthed ground beetle, Dicalus purpuratus.
Dicalus. Okay, yep, that's the one.
That's gotta be it.
And that means this is another lifer insect for Evan and me.
That's a lifer for me too. I've never seen this before.
Congratulations.
Let's go.
A lifer is an animal we've never seen in the wild before, and this place is so rich with wildlife that it's shockingly easy to find them even for local experts like Mikie or people like us who have been coming here for years. But let me tell you, when you dial in your focus to the little things that creep around in the swamp, you find things so fast that the diversity is almost overwhelming.
Now this is pretty cool. We have a cricket, a grasshopper, and a katydid here. These are the three major groups of orthopterans, an order of insects that most people are probably familiar with. So this is a Gryllus genus field cricket.
This is an eastern lubber grasshopper, the largest species of grasshopper here in the United States.
And to cap it all off, we have the Florida oblong-winged katydid, which is in fact a lifer for Evan and me. So check this out. All three major groups of orthopterans.
These insects have very different lifestyles, diets, and microhabitats, but they can all coexist here because this is such a varied ecosystem with so many unique features that there's a niche for all of them. However, you see the real richness of the swamp when you get in the water.
Do you hear all those frogs calling?
Oh yeah.
This is insane. The amphibians are in full swing of breeding here in the cypress forest. Eastern narrowmouth toads, southern toads, American green tree frogs, and pig frogs are all breeding in the pools behind me.
This place absolutely comes alive at night. The number of frogs alone can be deafening in these choruses, and we're running into hundreds of southern toads and leopard frogs crossing the road as we push deeper into the swamp. Amphibians need both healthy terrestrial and aquatic habitats to survive. But what's so special about this ecosystem is that it's really the intersection of three worlds: the land, the water, and the trees. What we found next really puts that in perspective. A rarely seen tree dweller that we never expected to find patrolling the swamp floor.
This is a pretty surprising find, actually, a Hence's bark scorpion. This is our first scorpion species we've ever found in the US, so that's very exciting.
This
This is usually a species that hangs out under tree bark, up in vegetation, or in the trees. So to see it moving around on the ground, he was probably hunting, I imagine. Bark scorpions have neurotoxic venom. It overpowers the nervous system of primarily the prey that they're eating, which is mostly small insects, other invertebrates up in the treetops. Now, the thing about scorpions is that people kind of have an impression that they are more aggressive, more likely to sting than something like a spider, but in our experience, that really hasn't been the case. He's really not interested in stinging. All he wants to do is get on with his night of hunting, and we'll let him do just that.
It's a good thing that this guy didn't feel the need to sting us, because it's a close cousin of the Arizona bark scorpion, the most dangerous arachnid in the country. The venom of the henses wouldn't kill you, but it would be extremely painful, enough to drive off any predator with a single sting. But they're not the only tiny creature out here that relies on powerful toxins to survive.
This is the peninsula newt, and though it looks unassuming, this salamander is hiding an insane secret. They produce one of the deadliest natural poisons known to man, tetrodotoxin. This powerful neurotoxin can kill you in a matter of hours or even minutes with a big enough dose. But luckily, it's only harmful if you eat it. So we can take a closer look at this exciting lifer.
This is our very first salamander species ever in Florida. I didn't even know that there were salamanders in this part of the cypress forest. These are very sensitive amphibians. They breathe through their skin primarily, so they need to exist in areas with clean water. So this is a good sign that this part of the habitat is actually quite healthy.
The extreme toxins that this newt carries may seem like overkill, but having a healthy ecosystem means that there are a lot of predators around that wouldn't pass up such an easy meal without that chemical weapon as a deterrent. There is an unbelievable amount of brown and banded water snakes patrolling the swamp, but some of the other reptilian hunters out here are much larger.
Wow, look at this! That is a nice yellow rat snake.
Now, the yellow rat snake can sometimes be a little bit defensive, but this guy's not being super bitey. Beautiful snake. Look at the size of this animal. You can see that S posture, which is a little bit of a defensive display, so he's not very happy with me. As their name would suggest, rat snakes are incredibly effective rodent predators, and the way that he takes down his prey, because this is a non-venomous snake, is he is a very powerful constrictor. When he catches a cotton rat or a vole or something like that, he'll wrap it up in those coils, which he's displaying right here, and cut off the blood supply to the brain, killing it very, very quickly.
This is one of the largest and strongest snakes in the country. They'll eat everything from their favored rats to lizards, frogs, birds, and anything else they can catch. Rat snakes regulate the numbers of all these animals to keep things balanced, and in turn, you need large and diverse prey populations to support these big predators, which is why having a healthy overall ecosystem is so important. But luckily, we quickly found proof that this swamp is exactly that in the form of a very unusual but successful frog.
We have an eastern narrowmouth toad here. These guys are absolutely adorable. Not true toads, actually. They're in their own family of amphibians, the Microhylidae, or narrowmouth frogs. So these are always very exciting for us to add to the life list. And another cool thing is that this is a native amphibian, so another good species to see around.
Anyone who hunts for wildlife in Florida knows that this state is infested with invasive species, like the omnipresent Cuban tree frogs that use their massive size to easily outcompete any native amphibians, and even kick them out of an area with enough time. This is just one of the threats the swamp is facing, because human development, climate change, and the ongoing biodiversity loss crisis that comes with them are threatening to change everything about this critical ecosystem. However, all hope is not lost.
This is one of the few herping outings that we've had this year here in Florida where we found more native frog species than invasive frog species, which is always barred owl, of course. Yep. But seeing multiple native frog species is an amazing sign that this ecosystem is one we have to protect.
It's important that we know what's out here and how they're all surviving so we can do what must be done to preserve them into the future. And that's exactly why we life list. We want a record of the life that exists in these overlooked places so we can keep ourselves and humanity accountable for all the things we have to protect. But as we pushed on, it wasn't long before we found one of the biggest things that we need to protect them from. perhaps Florida's most destructive invader of all.
This is a Burmese python. Hey, buddy. Not at all a large one. This guy's probably only a year or two old. Already, the difference between working with this guy and a water snake or a rat snake is apparent. This is such a strong, muscular animal, and that makes sense when you think about how they're hunting. These are big constrictors, and when they reach full size, which can be over 20 feet in length, they can eat literally anything out here. Because this is such a destructive, invasive species here in Florida, we are not able to release this guy out into the wild again. It's just not good for this ecosystem to have these snakes around.
We love these pythons intrinsically, but there's too much incredible wildlife in the swamp to risk them being here and destroying everything else. We've spent the last several months in Florida wilderness documenting the unbelievable ways animals have figured out how to survive here. And if you want to see how some crazy reptiles have solved their problems, check out this video, where we show you some of their strategies that will absolutely blow your mind. And with that, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.